The following podcast contains spoilers and words like piss, shit, and f***. We watch the thing. We watch the thing. Hello everybody and welcome to not only We Watched a Thing, but the 300th episode of We Watched a Thing. How insane is that, Dave? It is. Shit. It's this week. 300 eps. You've been with me now for, must be at least 50.
Fuck me, it probably would be, wouldn't it?
That's
August,
crazy.
September last year or something? It's almost a year.
Time
Bloody
moves
hell.
fast. Time moves bloody fast. How you going, mate?
I am good. Had a few nice relaxing days off up in Byron Bay.
Nice.
Chilling out, doing very little. Visiting wonderful distilleries. Getting some nice whiskey and rum. Having a rum right now.
And probably watching some TV, I'd imagine.
I squeezed some in.
Because it was about 6 weeks ago now, probably, that we did our required viewing.
It's been too long.
If you're anything like me, I left it all till the last minute. Luckily, I had yesterday and today off.
It's been a bingy couple of days, I'll tell you that.
I put the episodes I had to watch into a playlist, and when I saw the duration come up as about 10 and a half hours, I went, oh, fuck. But I did it, and here we are to talk about them.
Yep, this is going to be fun.
This is going to be fun. I think last time we spoke about them in our order from kind of worst to best. Why don't you kick us off with the show that you enjoyed the least of the 5 that I made you watch?
Alrighty. All right. Well, this is a very easy decision.
Oh,
Let's talk about Divided.
The game show.
The game show. Now, as you said, the premise of this game show is just broken. It's
like
insane.
Half game show, half social experiment, which is what I love about it.
And in that sense, it's very successful.
Yeah.
The problem is, I hated every single person on the 3 episodes. I wanted to slap them. I was swearing at the screen.
That's why the show works, though, Dave.
It's not a bad show.
Yeah.
But I had
it's hard to watch.
I did not enjoy 1 second of watching it.
I mean, just to let the listeners know, the premise of the show is that it's 4 complete strangers who have to answer questions as a team. The answers have to be unanimous. Halfway through the show, they have to unanimously vote to kick someone off. And then at the end, they have to unanimously decide who gets what share of the money. Because the other thing is that the longer it takes them to unanimously decide on a question, the cash dwindles.
They're multiple choice questions. They're not complete guesswork. You know, an intelligent person, 90% of the time, I feel an intelligent person would be able to get the correct answer.
Because it's not really trivia. It's more, generally, they're based around statistics and things like that.
But it's not like complete random numbers where you're just picking a percentage. They're things that you
could
potentially could know or could at least work out.
Yeah.
And these fucking morons... the one that just got me, it was, I can't remember if it was the first or the second. I think it might have been the second episode. They all had the same thing. They'd all entered. They all had, I think it was B.
And then they spend like 30 seconds before they lock
this one fucking chick just keeps talking. It's like you've all agreed on the answer, and she's just pontificating and going, but of course this, and meanwhile the money's going down. It goes from like $5,000 to about 500 or something. She's probably the one
fighting hardest for the most amount of money too.
Thankfully they all booted her right the fuck out.
Because that's good. Because that's the best thing about this show is the amount of times that they walk away with 0 cash because of one holdout who's sitting there going, I'm not taking less than the most.
It literally got the number, so because you've got the whatever it is, 60%, 30%, 10%, I think is the what they need to agree on.
Yep.
The 60% was like $400.
Yeah, I know, yeah.
And
they still sit there and fight
over this
over
one
it.
guy was still going, I'm not taking the lowest. And the host paused it, gave them 10 seconds to bicker because he said, just take something. Get a pizza on the way home.
Yeah.
Don't leave with nothing. And it went to nothing. And I was just like, I can't do another episode of this. I've done my 3.
Yeah.
I can't do another one.
So
it was painful.
So would you say that you actively dislike the show?
I dislike watching it.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say it's a bad show. I think it achieves what it sets out to do.
Yeah.
But what it sets out to do is something that made my skin crawl.
Yeah. That's totally fair. I mean, you and I tend to disagree on particularly cringe is where I quite enjoy some cringe. You don't. It was amazing that you enjoyed Impractical Jokers because I know that you don't like Nathan For You at all, for example.
I didn't find those two remotely similar, though.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
Because Impractical Jokers, I mean, they might be exaggerating, but they're just being themselves. They're not playing characters. They're not...
Yeah.
And at no point, certainly in the ones I've seen, do they do anything sort of negative to other people.
Yeah, definitely.
They might make other people go, what the fuck, or whatever. They draw the line at anything that's over that goes too far. So I enjoyed that. Whereas Nathan For You, I found,
Okay. So how would you score Divided out of 10?
Oh, jeez, it's hard. Because my personal enjoyment scale, it's going to be really fucking low. I'll give it a 3.5 out of 10 because I think it does exactly what it sets out to do. It does what it says on the tin. But yeah, not for me.
Fair enough. Oh man. Oh, I'm worried about the rest of this week then. And then after this, of course, we're recording a Patreon episode of our new album series, and I'm really worried about the album I've given you there as well. So shit. All right, well, I'm going to preface this by letting you know that I actually quite enjoyed all of the shows that you gave me this week. There's none.
Yay.
There's no standout as like, this is clearly the worst. The one that I enjoyed the least is Edge of Darkness, the miniseries.
Oh, wow.
And I think the main reason is just because it's a little dated, and I have no problem with, one of my favorite shows of all time is X-Files, of course. That started in the very early 90s, and I still rewatch it constantly. But 85, and because it is very political,
it's
I'm not the most political of people. It is.
It's very topical for 40 years ago.
Yeah. Well, and I was reading about its creation and stuff, and it was really inspired by around this time Margaret Thatcher got voted in. I think it was Reagan in the States maybe got voted in, and it was very much about the
nuclear
political
proliferation,
landscape.
And there was a Selfield disaster, and
And it's an interesting show, but I think of the 5 I watched, it is the one that. To be honest, I don't know if I know it's only a mini-series. I don't know if I'll extend beyond the 3 that I watched. Like
the ending's pretty fucking good.
Is it?
Yeah,
okay.
It ends pretty strongly, but
maybe I'll pick it back up.
I do understand it is, and I guess if I hadn't watched it at the time for the first time, it may not kind of be quite as dear to my heart, I guess.
Yeah. Okay.
So, no, I understand that, but I'm glad you enjoyed it at least somewhat.
I definitely enjoyed it. Yeah, like
cracking
I said,
soundtrack too.
It really is. It really, and the whole production in general, like I said, it's a bit dated, but not, I don't think the production is bad or anything. It's a good looking show. Like you said, the score is great. The
other thing which hurts it, I think, a little is that it's hard to even get DVD quality. It's mainly... you're looking at
the copy that I watched
TV
was, of
recordings.
course, 4:3 TV recording, which I actually kind of liked. To me, that adds some charm to it.
Oh, I did, but I mean, just the quality of the... it'd be lovely if they could stretch to putting it out on a Blu-ray version or something and clean it up a bit.
Yeah. All right, so there we go. I'm going to give Edge of Darkness 6.5 out of 10.
Oh, that's not too bad.
Yeah, it's like I said, there's nothing that you gave me that I didn't enjoy. It's more. That's probably the only one, maybe one more that I won't continue through to the end.
Ooh, intriguing.
Okay. All right, on to your number 4.
Alrighty. So, from here on, I enjoyed everything. I'm not going to slag anything else off.
Okay.
Divided hurt me to watch. The rest are all fine. All right. The next one I'm going to put... is going to be Kenny versus Spenny.
Okay,
which I did enjoy.
Another kind of cringy comedy, though. Yep.
I didn't find it cringy. The reason it's probably so low is that I fucking hate Kenny.
And you're meant
just
to.
a dick.
Kenny is an asshole. I don't know which particular 3 episodes you watched.
I
whether you
started at the beginning,
from
so
yeah,
I think
okay, yeah.
one was there was and I can't remember the order. There was a fashion designing one.
Oh yeah.
There was
yep.
staying up the longest,
Yep.
and I think they were about cooking, being a chef or something.
Yeah, yeah. I love that show. It's so stupid. Like 2 comedians just competing for, like you said, who can stay up the longest, for example. One of my favorite episodes was who can go the longest without getting dirty, and they had to wear these all white jumpsuits.
I think that was the next one, I was actually going. I'll get to it. I will watch a few more of these because I want to get to one where Spenny wins because
it does happen rarely.
Cooking one,
he's a cheat.
He's an asshole, and he's that kind of. He's quite good looking, but he acts like he's better looking than he is, which kind of, that irks me. He cheats at every possible opportunity. Doesn't take any of these seriously. Spenny takes them all seriously.
He does. He
tries his fucking hardest.
Yeah.
But he's so inept that he's still lose. And I just felt so bad for him. The fashion one, his concept of like making it all out of flags and having the flags of nations in conflict together, like Israel and Palestine. But what he made was such god awful shit. It looked like it was made by a 3-year-old.
Yep.
Meanwhile, Kenny's just trying to crack onto models and making bras out of toilet plungers, and these moron fashionista judges go, "Oh, it's very challenging." Fuck it off. No.
And he's always trying to find loopholes too. I love those opening scenes where they're kind of coming up with the parameters of the challenge. I don't remember if this happened in the first 3 or if this kind of develops later on in the series, but he's always trying to come up with rules that will, allow him to cheat, basically.
Well, the staying awake one, he was going to Chinese herbalists and getting all sorts of pills and concoctions. And
I'm telling you, you need to watch the episode.
The erection one.
The erection one
you
where
told me
where
about
he
that.
goes and gets an injection like a blood blocker so that he physically is incapable of getting an erection. Oh, jeez. All right. So
Kenny v. Spenny. I'm going to give that I'll give it a 6.5.
Yeah.
And I will watch a few more. Just to try and find one where Spenny wins.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. All right. The next one on my list is Brass Eye, which was enjoyable. It's a similar concept in some ways to a show that I know you and I both love, Life Support, an old Australian series. It's kind of spoofing on that, I guess, kind of current affairs type show.
Yeah, exactly.
And I liked it. The only reason it slowed down for me is I do think I've seen this done better. Last time we did this, I didn't have it on the list, I think, but I did mention a show called Review with Miles Barlow.
You did, yeah. I haven't had a chance to catch up with it yet.
So that's an Australian show that's a very, very similar concept to this, except he actually inserts himself in the episodes a bit more. The ones I watched, I enjoyed. I just think that I've seen the concept done maybe
I don't remember the order of the episode.
The first one was Animals.
Is that the one with the cow graffiti?
Yes. Yeah. Then Drugs, which was probably my favorite of the 3. I was reading that led to a bunch of real life stuff where people thought that these drugs they were making up were serious, and they were putting out PSAs and stuff for kids.
A Conservative MP raised a question in Parliament about cake, the made up drug.
Yes.
Which what higher praise could you get for a show like this?
Well, that's the thing. That's why this show, I think that's why I liked it as much as I did, even though it's a little dated and even though I think I've seen the concept done better. Like you say, when something like that has the power to cross over in real life, because the point of this show is to appear as real as possible.
Yeah, that's getting, like in the drugs one, getting people like Rolf Harris and Noel Edmonds to do these PSAs about this fake drug.
Yeah.
And have it be so obviously fake and referred to all the way through as a made-up drug.
Yes, yeah.
It highlights the anti-drug fervour and nonsense so well that these celebrities will jump on board any bandwagon, even when they're told it's fake. Their mind just ignores that.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. So I liked the show a lot, and I might watch a couple more. I know that obviously it's a British show. It's only short. I think there's only like 6 episodes
There's
total,
6
and then
plus,
a special.
plus the immortal special Peter Geddon.
And I did read a bit about that just because it sounded so fascinating.
It's amazing. Even if you don't finish it, skip ahead and watch Peter Geddon, because that's a landmark piece of television.
I'm assuming that you're familiar with Philomena Kunk and her stuff. You know, Kunk on Earth and Kunk on Britain.
I think you've mentioned this, but I've never come across it.
Even if you don't watch the show, I want you to just YouTube Kunk and just watch some of the clips.
This is not going to get me on a watch list, is it?
She's kind of somewhere in between this and Nathan For You, in that she's playing a fictional character, kind of a reporter who's putting these documentary series together on, say, Britain or something, and she's interviewing real, actual, experts in the field, but she's just asking the dumbest questions imaginable, and it's really entertaining to watch. Just YouTube Kunk very quickly and just watch a couple of clips.
It sounds a little bit... Have you ever come across Dennis Pennis?
No.
Is it like a British? I don't know. I mean, I'm going back quite a few years, but he would go up and interview celebrities.
Yeah.
But to give you an example, push through a crowd of journalists to get to Steve Barton and go, Steve, Dennis Pennis, why aren't you funny anymore? That sort of thing.
That's pretty funny. All right, over to your number 4.
No, 3, I think.
3 already? Oh, yes, of course, 3.
Yeah.
Yep. Wow, time flies.
Alrighty, 3. 3 is Berserk.
Okay,
Golden Age.
The Golden Age arc.
Memorial Edition,
Yep.
Fallout, whatever it is.
Which, again, is a cheat. I think I mentioned this last time. This is technically a trilogy of films that they've split into episodes.
Yes, well, true, but I did note that the non-Memorial Edition, or whatever the fuck it's called, is a trilogy of films, but it is now very much in episodes, since they went through and tarted up the... It redid the animation and everything, so I think it totally counts as a series.
I think so.
I'm only just on nearly finished the 3rd episode, and I'm definitely going to finish it because I'm enjoying it.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun. So far, there's not really a whole lot of character development.
Yeah. Okay.
I get a sense that's going to come. It's a bit weird. So the first episode is just a great big long battle scene, and then a duel.
I remember sitting in the cinema during that battle scene, and I think I mentioned it. I just thought the animation was stunning. It's like Lord of the Rings level epicness, that battle scene.
Yeah. It's really, really beautiful, and it's got a touch of that. Not quite like Studio Ghibli but where you've got these traditional sort of what appear almost sort of cel shaded characters. Yeah. But then these beautiful, I'm assuming painted, but they almost look like photographic backgrounds, like clouds in the sky and all that sort of thing. It's really, really beautiful. But yeah, no, the first episode was weird. It was just this massive, gory battle scene, which is fine. I was not fast forwarding any of that shit. It was great. But then the second episode jumps ahead 3 years.
Yes. Yep.
And it took me a while to realize that, because obviously any 3 years later is all in Japanese kanji, and I didn't realize we'd done that until someone referred to it. I was like, oh, that explains why you're a little more familiar with one another and why they're all friendly with you when you were fighting them 2 seconds ago.
Yep.
I do like the weirdly androgynous leader of the army.
Yeah, and there is a lot of character development and a really nice relationship between him and Guts that forms as well.
Well, I'm kind of not quite sure where that's going to go, because the end of their duel, they've been laying out the stakes, and is it Griffith?
Griffith, yes.
Griffith says, and if I win, you will do whatever I want.
Yeah, it's very homoerotic.
I expected him to say, and I mean to have you.
yeah.
And even Guts sort of looks at his sideline and says, you mean in that way.
Yeah.
But then I get the sense that there's going to be a thing between him and Pixie Haircut Manic Dream Girl, who hates him at the moment, but that's not going to last. Let's face it. So yeah, it's good. You were right. It's kind of a Lord of the Ringsy type epic fantasy,
Game of Thrones.
It's not a huge, varied band, but you've got the three of them, and there's kind of a huge guy who always seems to be carrying a barrel around, and I get the sense he's a bit of a character. And they've just recently met this giant horned demon who's laid out a whole bunch of foreboding all over the fucking place, and then pissed off. So there's stuff that's going to happen. So I'm really enjoying it.
Okay, awesome. Yeah.
And it's not long. It only looks like, I think there's like 8 or 10 episodes, and that's it. So
yeah, I know that at the moment your daughter's probably a bit young, but I know that she's big into anime and manga and stuff. This is one of the most famous mangas of all time. It's really, it's very good.
So the blood and that doesn't concern me. So far, we've had one brief moment of nudity, which wouldn't bother me. But every time the warning comes up at the top, it says strong sex scenes, and so it's like, okay, hanging out for that stuff. So I might watch all the episodes and then decide whether or not to revisit it with a teenage girl.
Yeah, well, and again, being based on such a famous manga, there's multiple versions of this. This obviously is I think there were 2 other anime series before they made this trilogy of films.
There were a bunch, and I was glad you'd sort of, gone, okay, go this one because it's the one with the more modern visuals, at least.
So how are you scoring Berserk so far?
Only give it a 7.5. Okay. But that could well go up depending on, because I haven't really had much of the story yet.
Yeah.
It's just been a series of battle sequences and Manic Pixie Dream Girl saying, I hate you, you're the worst thing that's happened to the band of the fucking Falcon or whatever they're called.
All right. Well, you'll have to keep me updated as you keep watching.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. Would you like to guess what my next one is?
Are we at your 3? Is that what
we are? Yep.
Got to remember what I gave you. Okay, we've got that. We've got that. Here we go. All right, I'm guessing 3 is Nowhere Man.
Incorrect.
Wow.
3 is Fleabag, which I know that's going to surprise some people, but I have to say, let me preface this. I think the next 3 are all very strong. Very strong. There's not a lot of score difference between these 3. And I will 100% continue watching all 3 of these shows.
Okay, all right. That's
so Fleabag, excellent. I should have watched this years ago. I said this last. I've been meaning to watch it for a long time. Noosk was a massive fan.
Did you watch it with her this time? Or
I didn't watch the show with her because I had so much binging to do. So I watched that while she was at work yesterday. But then today, actually, our local Dendy Cinemas are showing the one-woman stage play.
Oh, you're ahead of me. I haven't even got to that yet.
Yeah, they're showing the original play that this was based on. So Noosk and I went and caught that today.
Oh, how was that?
Which is really interesting. So it's just under an hour and a half long, and it is just her on stage. Yeah. No other actors or anything, just her on a chair. And at times there's kind of ominous voices and stuff, for other characters. But mostly it's just her. And it's very, very similar to the show in a lot of ways. Like, a lot of the sequences from the show come directly from that play. Arsehole guy, the rat face guy on the tube. Lots of those stories are just direct from the play.
Now that just one brief aside, did you notice, now that you've seen Fleabag, that rat face guy on the tube is one of the Mattel executives in Barbie?
I didn't notice that, no.
He doesn't have the teeth, but I went, oh, it's you. Weird looking guy. Okay.
So if you can get a hand on it, or if you can find somewhere to see it,
I know it's showing at the Cremorne Orpheum, which is a bit of a hike, but I occasionally go in there that's where I went to see the pre-premiere of Parasite. About 6 months before it opened in Australia.
That's a great movie. So my only problem probably with seeing the play is that I suspect it's spoiled quite a lot for me from
how much of it have you watched
So just the first 3 episodes,
Right,
just what I
okay.
had to watch. So I
And
still
there's
have a
6
whole season plus the rest of season 1 to go.
And it's,
So I've
it's 6 per season?
yeah, 6 per season.
Season 2 is better, if anything, than season 1 because you've got Andrew Scott, and Andrew Scott makes everything better.
Is he the hot priest?
He is the hot priest.
Okay, so obviously I haven't seen that far, but Nooska's mentioned the hot priest.
He
Doesn't
is
appear
the-
in the play at all, so...
I mean, Phoebe Waller-Bridge is nigh
She's
on perfect,
excellent, though.
but
She is just so
he
charming
is
and
as
likeable.
good as her
Yeah.
in Fleabag.
Yeah, right. Even though she's playing this woman that in a lot of ways you're kind of not supposed to like, she's so
She's
fucking
flawed,
likeable.
but I
She's just
would
wonderful.
marry her in a heartbeat.
Yeah, she's fantastic. I love this show. I'll definitely keep watching it.
Best example of how being smart and funny makes you 3 or 4 points higher on the hotness scale.
Yeah, true.
I mean, she's not. She's attractive. She's not unattractive, but she's not. If you saw her in the street and didn't know who she was, I don't reckon you'd sort of turn your head and go, "Whoa."
Yeah, yeah.
But she's
so smart and so
possibly
funny.
one of the most attractive people on the planet
And
because of her personality.
it's interesting. The first 3 episodes were mainly like very comedy heavy, very funny, lots of funny scenes. I love her asides to the camera. The play was quite dramatic. Like she's got a lot of quite dramatic turns in there that really kind of like she's almost crying on stage at times. And I don't know how much of that comes into the show.
It's a while since I've seen it, and both seasons I binged in one sitting, so it's not like I've got this, the memory stretched over a period of time.
Yep.
I do remember it being quite dramatic.
Okay.
And in fact, if I had to describe it based on my sketchy memory, I'd say it's a drama series.
Yeah, okay.
That is funny because you're seeing the drama through the eyes of someone who knows how to laugh at serious situations.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Because all of the humour from memory is coming from
depressing
her.
humour.
None of the situations are funny. None of the other characters are funny from memory.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's one of the things that made it so refreshing is that it's if you're one of the people who likes things like the Giggle Loop episode of Coupling, then this sort of thing I think really appeals because it is finding comedy in drama, which is why I'm surprised it's done so well globally because it's not the sort of thing that normally plays as well in the States.
Yeah, true. Yeah. So for me, this is definitely where I start the highly recommend. I've only seen the first 3 episodes, obviously, but for me, this is an 8.5 out of 10. I really loved this show.
You've got to get back to me when you get to season 2.
I will,
because there's a subtle difference in season 2 structurally in the show.
Okay.
And I really want to know what you think of it.
Well,
I won't say any more because I
probably will wait
because
I probably will watch the rest with Noose because after watching the play today, she was very keen to rewatch the series. So
good girl.
We'll probably do that.
She's
together.
a good egg. I like her.
All right, here we are with your number 2 then.
Yep. And this is weird. This is number 2 because I've watched less of it.
Okay.
I don't know if it would stay. I think it will probably still be number 2 because I will finish both of these shows.
Yeah. So we know though that Sharon Horgan is your girl. Then,
Sharon Horgan.
It's the 2 Sharon Horgan
I
shows
already loved her, so
yeah.
This is probably not a surprise. So Noose will love me because I know that she's a huge fan. So my number 2 is Bad Sisters.
Okay. All right.
And I'm not even finished the 3rd episode of this. I ran out of time.
Yeah.
But it's really good. It's got people I like in it. Yep. I mean, Sharon Horgan I like. It's got fucking... What's his name from Game of Thrones? What was his name? Gray... fucking... Oh my God!
I forget, man.
he was in love with Nellie Emanuel before she got fell off the wall thing.
Something about Worm.
Grey Worm.
Yes. Yeah.
Grey Worm's in it with an Irish accent, so that's good. No, I really really like this.
Yeah.
And
nice.
I haven't checked the credits. I don't, which is ridiculous because I'm 2.5 episodes in. Is it Claes Bang who's the fuckwit brother-in-law?
Yes, it is. Yeah.
Dracula himself. He's great. He's so fucking hateable.
Yeah,
Everything,
don't you just hate him?
every word he says, you want to shoot him in the head.
This is one of those great examples where you don't feel bad for a dead man. Like,
No. And the beautiful thing is, it's all his performance. Because I reckon on paper, this script, very few of the things he says would come across as insults or as asshole things.
Yeah.
Like there's one of the things just in this, it was either the last episode or this one, as he's walking out the door, he turns to his wife and says, "Oh, and go to the salon and treat yourself to a makeover or something."
Yeah.
And she says, "What do I need it?" And he says, "Did I say you need it? I said treat yourself." And on paper, you'd think, good bloke.
Yeah.
I mean, he does end it with, "Come on now, don't make me walk on glass." And I thought, oh, you're a bit of a cunt. But the way he delivers it, every syllable, you're like, you're an asshole.
Yeah. He's such a prick.
He does that role so well.
It's such a great show because in so many ways it is kind of... It's relatable in a way that you're not supposed to say it's relatable. You're not supposed to be on board
the way
with
they
murder.
sit around, the way the sisters all sit around, and because it's all told non-sequentially, you're sort of jumping between present day after the funeral and which I love.
Yeah.
Compared to Oppenheimer, which I thought was a little bit all over the shop for a lot of the runtime with the time jumps. I think this does it perfectly.
Yeah.
You get sort of drip fed little bits about how this guy came to die, even though you know, right?
Yeah.
I'm assuming I know because I haven't, and don't tell me if I'm wrong, but I'm assuming I know that they've killed him.
Okay.
Even though so far that hasn't been said, other than them sitting around in a circle going, "He's a prick. We could kill him. Ha ha ha.
Yeah.
Yes, we could. Anyway, who wants a cup of tea?" And then you flash to, post funeral.
Yeah.
So it's very cleverly paced. I'm surprised that this is not a bigger hit when other shows that have tried this sort of time jumpy storytelling, and I'm thinking of like Yellow Jackets, something, things that are much bigger, much more successful. Yeah, it is. This is a much better written show,
but it's not American, which I think is what it has against it.
And
it's predominantly an Irish show. And,
it's absolutely. Everyone's Irish. It's and maybe that's why I like it. I like Irish stuff.
Same.
So,
yeah.
Anyway, I can tell you're wearing your flat cap.
That's true.
But no, I really like this. This is. I'm going to say an 8, but I have a feeling it's going to end up around an 8.5 because I need, it needs to stick the landing, but I'm sure it will. But it's really, really strong. Sharon Horgan's amazing. I'm loving it so far, and I'm definitely going to finish it.
Nice. Well, it's only there's only 10 episodes, and as far as we know, there's been no talk of a second season. So
who else are they going to kill?
Well, exactly. So I'm pretty sure it's a one and done kind of one-off series.
I would think so. Did this come before another show that we may still have to talk about?
No, this was after that. So Bad Sisters was quite recent. This was only last year, I think, or maybe the year before. Catastrophe, which is the other show I gave you, was much earlier. I think that was around 2015 that started.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. My number 2 is the one that you thought might be my number 3. It's Nowhere Man. And interestingly enough, both of our number 2s is the one show that we didn't get up to the required point because I didn't get up to 3. I only watched 2 episodes of this.
Well, apparently you own the fucking thing, so...
I've owned it for forever. I've had it sitting there. I remember, was it last time we did this? I think you originally gave me Prisoner. Is that right? And then I was said, going to give you Prisoner. Seen that.
Yeah.
It was the same time I got Prisoner was when I got this, when it was recommended by the same person. And I think you can clearly see
this person obviously has fucking impeccable taste.
This show was fucking fantastic. It was right up my alley.
I knew,
it's very kind of X-Files-y, but not in that kind of supernatural way. It's kind of, it reminded me a lot of
It feels like there's something supernatural because you sort of go, how the fuck could this happen?
How did it all happen so quick? It's kind of Finchery. It's almost like The Game or something.
Yes. Perfect example.
That pilot just had me hooked instantly. The second he comes out from the toilet and his wife's not there, the people at the restaurant don't recognize him. I loved this show. I think this is such a great premise, and I was surprised to see that it ran. I mean, it was only one season, but 25 full episodes.
When it aired, because I first saw this when it aired for the first time, it was right in. I think I was at uni, because this is like first half of the 90s, I think.
I think it's like 95 or something.
Yeah, so I was living alone at uni, so I was watching shitloads of TV.
Yeah.
And some of my favourite shows of all time, I tried to pitch you on Dark Skies. You'd already seen it. For some reason, I don't think it's better than X-Files, but whatever. But this and Dark Skies dropped from memory at almost exactly the same time.
Yeah, 100% they would have. Yeah.
It was a really strong time for kind of genre, thriller, sci-fi sort of TV.
Yeah.
And Dark Skies and this, I was hooked week to week, because you couldn't stream shit back then, kids. I was, and I mean, they may not have been, but in my mind, they were one after the other on a whatever night, and that was, and I remember just being hooked, and I expected, I mean, Dark Skies I thought would be a bigger hit, but obviously the juggernaut of X-Files was still around, and nothing could compete with Chris Carter. So, but Nowhere Man, I expected Bruce Greenwood to be the next big thing, because he's a tall, fucking good-looking bloke. He was in this amazing show where he was really good. And his career, I mean, he's done a lot of stuff, but he's always in supporting roles. I've never seen him star in anything ever again, which is astonishing to me.
Yeah. No, I loved this show. It reminded me a lot of, like, The Fugitive. Like, it's very... It's very thrillery, and like you said, you feel like there must be like a supernatural...
It was a real sort of late 80s, early 90s thing to have this kind of story of the week type thing,
and
with the overarching...
Which actually really surprises me, given that that's the premise of the show. When I got to episode 2 and it was a bit more story of the week, I was like, wow, that's interesting for a show with a premise like this. Is that how it remains?
Similar
for the
to
rest
The
of
Fugitive,
series?
and I mean... I haven't given it to you yet, but there's a great fucking show from that era called Renegade with Lorenzo Lamas.
I haven't seen it. I haven't heard of it.
No!
Yeah.
Oh my God! I'll send you the opening credits after this. It is the most 90s shit you will ever see.
Well, that's
He's a
partly what I loved
discredited
about
cop
this.
who just roams the Badlands on a fucking Harley Davidson solving crimes and shit.
That's
and he's
partly
got
what I
a
loved
friend
about
who's
this.
a Native American in a truck, and it's fucking wonderful. But it's the same thing. There's this overarching kind of burn notice plot that ties everything together. But you can't, if you want to do multiple series of stuff, and obviously this didn't happen with Nowhere Man, you need to, you can't just constantly be chasing a rabbit, because...
Well, especially this was back in the 24 episode season days. You will never get fresh
viewers, because a viewer can't come in on episode 3 and pick it up if all you're doing is the through line. You need to have individual stories. So I'm so pleased you like this. I thought it was up your alley.
Big
this
fan
was like
of this.
Lost Room, where I thought this is kind of, I feel this is right in your wheelhouse.
So I'm an 8.5 on this as well. Only, like I said, only 2 episodes in, but again, I'll definitely continue watching this. It gave me that fuzzy 90s nostalgia feeling too. As soon as it started in 4:3, and the music is very X-Files-y.
I was like, I don't know if it's Mark Snow, but it's Mark Snow era.
Yeah, it is Mark Snow. Just looking at the page right now, it's Mark Snow, which 100% makes sense. It sounds the same. Yeah. All right, here we are with our number ones, which obviously we both know what they are.
It's obviously Catastrophe. I fucking love this show.
Nice.
I think I mentioned I'd stumbled onto the first episode because I didn't turn off Prime quick enough or something at about 3 o'clock in the morning, and then couldn't work out what I'd watched or where I watched it. So I'm so pleased that I came back to it now. Because as soon as I put that first episode, I was like, this is it.
Yeah.
This is pure Sharon Hawke at her absolute best. And Rob Delaney.
I was going to say, also
Peter from
Rob
Deadpool
Delaney.
2, for all the people out there who don't know the name.
Because they did write it together, I believe.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah, and in fact, later seasons, I don't want to get this wrong. I believe that his daughter died very tragically, very young, and he
in real life, or
in real life,
Ooh.
and he continued to somehow push through and write the show, and
Jesus.
I love this show. I think they have such great chemistry. They are so funny. They're very real. Like, it's not like watching an on again, off again like Ross and Rachel, but it's not like watching a perfect couple like Carla and Turk either. Like, it's it's really realistic, I think.
Yeah. And I love the fact that they just call each other asshole and son of a bitch and fuck you and like normal people.
Yeah.
It's hysterically funny. She's amazing. He is perfect. The like unsung hero for me is whoever plays Chris.
Isn't he fantastic?
He is amazing.
You would remember the last time we did this required viewing, I gave you a mini-series called Quiz.
Oh, of course. Oh, my God.
And he was the creator of Who Wants to Be a Millionaire in that show. Yes. He is hysterical in this. Isn't he so fucking funny? You have to... I don't know how much you've watched. Have you just done the 3 episodes?
Fuck no, I'm up to like 8 or something. I don't know how many there are. I've done as many as I could fit. And I didn't stop because I chose to.
He just gets better and better. He is so funny in this show.
He got... I'll keep going to call him Peter because of fucking... Deadpool 2. Rob Delaney's character, whatever his fucking name is.
I think it's Rob, isn't it? I think their character names are just Sharon and Rob, maybe.
He's in like this zhuzhy menswear store to buy a suit or something. He sees fucking nightmare friend, Chris's wife.
Yeah.
And is ducking down trying to hide. And he dives into this changing room and Chris is in there fucking smoking an e-cigarette with no pants on. And just starts talking to him like he's not surprised to see him. It's the most natural thing in the world. Helps him escape so that his wife doesn't see him. But then you see him later, he comes out. While the e-cigarette is still in his mouth, he pulls out a real cigarette and lights it before he's just constantly fucking smoking. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
But so funny.
Oh, I love this show. I think it's so well written. I can't wait for you to keep watching and get to the end, and I'll need to know your thoughts then, because the ending of the show was controversial among fans. Some people enjoy it, some people hate it. So I can't wait until you get there, and you'll have to give me an update.
Oh, okay. It won't be far off, because I'll rip through it in the next few days, I think.
Nice.
But
nice.
I think the moment that I decide, I was already enjoying it, but they get sucked into going to dinner at Chris and what's-her-name's house in the first episode. And it's incredibly awkward and uncomfortable.
Yep.
And Rob ends up just tearing shreds off her career as a homeopath. And then they leave. He's in the car. He says, "Oh, she seems nice." And Sharon goes, "Nah, she's a cunt."
Sharon Horgan is she is a treasure. She is so fucking great. You know what would be awesome? Her and Phoebe Waller-Bridge doing something together would just be phenomenal. I think
the earth might implode.
All right. So over to my number 1 then, which of course you know is Evil.
Yes,
which
it is.
I bet you're happy about, because I know that you
Super
think this
happy.
is probably the best show ever.
It's certainly the best thing that's not finished its run, that's still currently going, I think.
This is great. I watched this with Noosk, and the pilot, there were times where it was bordering on too scary for her, because she doesn't love a horror, and this show is scarier than I thought it would be.
That will level out and the comedy will increase.
It was scarier than I thought it would be, but geez, some of it's fucking funny when, like, George, her kind of sleep demon, he's just hilarious. I just thought this show was the perfect balance. It's really, really strong. The premise is good. The acting and the characters are great. It's got that wonderful balance of horror and comedy. To me, it felt kind of like having Buffy back again, because I'm a massive Buffy fan.
Yeah, same.
Obviously, story-wise, it's not like that. Character-wise, it's not like that. But it was that blend. It was that blend of horror and comedy that I don't think we've seen work that well.
Like Buffy did, to have and you wouldn't have come across a lot of them yet, but to have demons that are visually, often quite scary,
Yeah.
a plot line that is kind of horror-ish,
Yeah. Yeah.
but to have those demons have a sense of humor and be presented in a way that you can laugh at some of the stuff,
Yeah.
which not many shows. I mean, Buffy did it very successfully on numerous occasions. And Evil really does, you'll see in later seasons if you keep watching.
I think the lead characters are really strong. Like, their acting is great, but they're very likable and enjoyable. Even though we don't, I'm only 3 episodes in, we don't really know that much about them yet, and we're kind of learning that as we go.
You certainly get more and more of her.
Yeah.
Yeah, oh no, you do. You do get bits. I mean, what's his name? Ben. You get a bit more of him, and I think his sister comes into it later and stuff. So yeah, they do flesh them out a little bit. So,
yeah. Okay. Yeah.
But she is obviously your main.
Yeah. I'm fully on board with this show. I'll definitely keep watching it. I don't know if Noosk will keep going with it or not. She enjoyed it, but
the comedy gets higher and the scary bits generally get less.
Yeah.
I don't remember it because I think I said she'll really like. I don't remember it being scary at all, but that's probably because I'm sort of season 3 or whatever, and it's, that those early ones are in the past for me.
It was more the kind of I think it's the stories that scared her more than anything. Like in particular, the first episode revolves around a serial killer.
Yeah.
And while she's interviewing him, it flashes back to shots of victims.
Yeah,
there's women, there's children, that kind of stuff, I think was what was too much for her.
That doesn't remain. That's very much that one particular character.
Yeah.
Who, if he's still in it, he's not in the show for very long.
Yeah, yeah. But no, I was big fan. I'll definitely keep watching. Exact same score as the last two, 8.5 out of 10 for me. These three were neck and neck. It was just, I thought that I enjoyed just that little bit more than Nowhere Man, that I enjoyed just that little bit more than Fleabag, but all three of these I'll continue watching to the end.
I'd be interested to see if they keep that ranking as you keep going. I'm sure Evil will stay at number 1, but the other two, yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, there we go. We did it.
Yeah. That's some very strong stuff. I mean, did I give a score for Catastrophe?
No, you didn't actually.
Oh, okay.
No.
It's a 9.
Okay, nice. There you go, 10 little mini reviews of some hopefully hidden gems that you guys might not have heard of.
Anything you haven't seen from the top sort of 2 or 3 of each of our lists, get out there and check them out because they're all bloody good.
Definitely. All right, well, what are we getting to next week, mate? I know you're excited for it.
Is it Dracula?
It's got to be the Meg, doesn't it? I think Dracula's...
we got Meg 2.
I think Dracula's the week after.
When's Voyage of the Demeter?
I think that's August 10th, which is the week after, and I think the Meg is this week.
I'm not unhappy about that because fuck. Have you been force fed a trailer at the movies yet?
I saw a trailer just yesterday when I went to see Sisu, which was really good.
I've seen that.
Yeah, that was enjoyable.
Maybe we'll do a mini review of that along with Meg.
Yeah, nice. Yes, let's do that. Yeah, so Meg 2 is next week. So yeah, why not? Let's do a double up, Meg 2 and Sisu.
Rock and roll.
All right.
Some crazy ass fun.
And then, yes, Dracula and Asteroid City are both the week after. So we might have to double up then as well. The new, how am I forgetting his name? Wes Anderson.
Oh, great.
Maybe I'll get Julio on to do that one with me.
Yeah. And I can just sort of like look askance at you both while you masturbate over his symmetrical framing.
Speaking of guest spots, actually, I should do a little plug. Last minute, I had a message from our great mate Sam from Movie Reviews and 20 Qs asking if I would hop on an Oppenheimer episode with him. So I did that just a couple of days ago. That should be dropping. Might have even dropped by the time this comes out. So if you're interested in hearing me talk some more Oppenheimer, go over to Movie Reviews and 20 Qs.
Oh, look at that. Look what I just noticed. If there wasn't already 10,053 reasons to want to see The Last Voyage of the Demeter, one of the stars is Aislinn Franciosi from The Nightingale, which I know you and I are both massive fans of.
I loved that movie so much. And she was fantastic. I'm glad to see her in something again because I don't think I've seen her in anything since.
Well, she's second build after Dracula.
Excellent.
So there we go. She might even don some fangs. Oh, I hope she transforms.
All right. Well, in the meantime, if you want to get in touch with us, you can do that at wewatchedathing.com or wewatchedathing@gmail.com. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, and now I guess X, if anybody's on X, at wewatchedathing. Maybe we'll just scrap Twitter. I don't know. I don't know what happens there. If you want to help support the show and hear some bonus content like our new series on perfect albums, you can do that at patreon.com/wewatchedathing, and we'll catch you next week.
Go watch some hidden gems.